All right, let's talk about the advanced total traction engineering system for all terrain with electronic torque split. Whew, that's a long acronym, and I think I got it right. But this is one of my favorite subjects when it comes to, Infiniti Nissan cars. And all my last 5 Infinitis I've had, I didn't buy it unless it had, the system on it. And I'm a little bit of a fanboy, but I'm gonna talk about it objectively as possible, but, put my disclaimer out there. So this system came out in 1989 and Nissan's motivation for this system was to beat the Porsche 959. Porsche 959 had a torque vectoring or a portioning front to rear four-wheel drive system that they had on their car. I think it was the Group B rally car, and it did pretty well. But the Nissan felt as if they can do it better. And one of the main drawbacks of the Porsche system, 959 system, was that it had its base torque split allowed the car to have a lot of understeer. Because if you know any car that has all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, they usually exhibit understeer at the limit. But Nissan was like, we can do this and we can have all-wheel drive and get rid of the understeer. So they started with a rear-wheel drive car. This car's got the conventional, longitudinal layout, or FR, or whatever you want to call it. So it's a rear-wheel drive transmission with a transfer case on the back that has another drive shaft that goes up to the front wheels. And then the transfer case is able to transfer up to 50% to the front wheels. Otherwise, it's 100% rear-wheel drive. So it's 0-100 or 50-50. And that's made it very unique and, to most other all-wheel drive systems that just have some set base torque, 60 to the back, 30 something to the front, or, 70, 80 to the back, 20 something to the front. But so those cars, since they can't put all the power to the rear, they're gonna exhibit understeer at the limit. And then, so the transfer case can push 50% of the power to the front mechanically, and then side to side transfer the powers using the ABS system. And if you've seen any of my other videos on, I think it was the brake limited slip video, you'll see how much everything uses the ABS system. So all the wheel speed sensors from the ABS system are used, and then the all-wheel drive computer can actually, take control of the ABS and brake individual wheels to keep the car's, yaw rate and slip angle in check. Then there's a, they came out with a pro version of this, and that was on like the R33 Skyline. And yes, a lot of people don't realize that, what's on the all-wheel drive system on this car is coming straight from the legendary Skyline, Godzilla that started it all. That's what's on this car. And then people will take a all-wheel drive Skyline, but then sometimes bash a G37X or M37X or Q50 all-wheel drive, not realizing the pedigree of the all-wheel drive system that's on this car. And to go a little further, this all-wheel drive system was used in what they call Group A racing for about a 4-year or so period, and it dominated all of Group A to the point that they eventually banned all-wheel drive because Nissan was just winning everything. And then, you know, even funnier story is when they raced in Australian Group A, they made a rule change just to get rid of the Nissan out of the races. So the rule change was no turbos and no all-wheel drive. And then you have to understand that Nissan was racing against V8 cars. They were racing against the Holden Commodore, or in the US, you know it as a Chevy SS, you know, sedan. And then they were racing other, I think the Fords. They were racing different Fords and Porsche. And it was one other manufacturer. And one other manufacturer that was about 4 to 5 manufacturer race. And they rule changed to ban Nissan out of it because this all-wheel drive system gave them such an advantage in the race. They just got tired of them winning. So once again, yes, this is the pedigree of the all-wheel drive system that you have in your Q50 or your G37 or your G35 or your M37 or your FX or any other FM platform car. The GTR, the Nissan GTR that came out in 2008, 2009 has a slightly different version. Well, better word would be a upgraded version to where it actually has a torque vectoring rear differential. And then the R33s and 34s got the Pro version. They also got that, what they call it, active LSD, or what we call it nowadays a EDIF. So that's the upgrade on it that, you know, your Q50s and your Gs and your Ms and your FXs and any other FM platform cars doesn't get. So we using the brakes to torque vector side to side, whereas they actually have hardware to torque vector in the back. And that's what makes the Nissan GTR or R35 so formidable. And then even when you look at GT3 racing, you will notice that the GTR, when it races in the GT3, GT2 or whatever, they are not allowed to use all-wheel drive because the GTR would dominate. So that's the pedigree of the all-wheel drive system that we have on our cars. You know, when I recorded my video last night, I forgot to mention, you know, I was talking about the motivation of the all-wheel drive, the ATTESA-ETS system, was to beat the Porsche 959 and its system. And one of the things I mentioned was that the Porsche 959 system would understeer at the limit because its torque split couldn't give 100% of the torque to the rear. It couldn't transfer 100% of torque to the rear, so that it would understeer at the limit, as with any other all-wheel drive system that can't distribute power 100% to the rear. So, you know, the design philosophy that Nissan engineers had was to have a car that didn't understeer at the limit or oversteer at the limit. It just stayed on line. And I think I have a diagram showing this, and they actually, you can find it on YouTube. Well, it's kind of hard to find on YouTube. I'm gonna see if I can pull the video off of YouTube or use I think you can use like 30 seconds of video without, you know, getting into any trouble licensing or something like that. But they actually tested front wheel drive car, rear wheel drive car, 4-wheel drive or fixed torque split all-wheel drive car, and then the variable, you know, giving 100% of the rear wheel drive torque split and then going to 50-50 that the ATTESA has. And you can see that in the diagram here, where you can see that how the 4-wheel drive systems with the fixed torque split, or, you know, all-wheel drive systems with fixed torque splits, they always understeer and went offline. And then you saw the front-wheel drive car would, you know, understeer at the limit and go offline.
and then you would see that the rear-wheel drive car would oversteer at the limit and go offline. But then a ATTESA system would, since it's varying the power 100% rear to 50-50 torque split, it just stays online. And then I actually have a autocross video I'm gonna show you, to where I actually get to experience this, where I'm making this left hand sweeper, and I just stay on the gas the whole time and keep my steering input constant, and then the all-wheel drive system just does the rest. It just stays online, and I don't have to do much of any correction because the all-wheel drive systems do it, and I'm able to just point the car exactly where I want it to go. And I'll show that probably twice, so you can just see how I just point the car. I want to get the whole, when I come around the curve, I want to be on the left side of the cone before the slalom, and I'm able to just swoop around to the left side and have the car there, and I'm on the gas the whole time. And you can't do that type of stuff in a purely rear-wheel drive car or purely front-wheel drive car, because you will have to do a little way more correction, and you won't be able to give as much throttle. You give a whole bunch of throttle on a front-wheel drive car trying that sweeper, you would have just understeered off the course. If you did a whole bunch of throttle with a rear-wheel drive car, you would have just oversteered and probably spent out. And so that's what they were going for with this all-wheel drive system, is not understeer, not oversteer, but on the driving line. Stay on the driving line. So it can be, for some people, I guess it's less fun to stay on the driving line. But if you're in any competition, staying on the driving line is faster than drifting or understeering. So competition-wise is better. Fun-wise, yeah, it can be a little bit of a party people, but it will, it'll step the butt out of the car, but then it only enough to get the car to rotate, and then it's gonna pull it back in. So it's playful, but not as playful as a purely rear-wheel drive car, But for me, it's the best of both worlds, and like I said in the beginning of the video, it kind of has me. I'm a fan of the ATTESA-ETS system. As always, time is against me with life and family time, so it's getting a little darker. But actually, it might be better. This road I'm going to give y'all this demonstration is usually empty even in the daytime, so it'll definitely be empty at night. I'm gonna show a couple of different scenarios so people can see how the all-wheel drive system react. I got one of those real advanced scan tools that lets you see live data straight from the ECU. Well, in this case, straight from the all-wheel drive computer. But the different scenarios I'm gonna show a launch, and then I'm gonna show what it does when you just cruising, and then I'm gonna show what it does like going into a turn, and I'm gonna show you when what happens when you hit the brake, and maybe one or two other scenarios that I can think of that I've seen people ask questions about. You're gonna see how tied to the throttle and the brake, it's called the ETS solenoid, and that's what's pumping fluid, the automatic transmission fluid, in order to send power to the front. And I have a live data recorder on the ETS solenoid so that we can watch when it activates and deactivates. And it's based on current. So more current means more power to the front. All right, we're looking into the four-wheel drive system for the Q50 and Q60s. Infiniti has renamed it All Mode
all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. If you drive the sedans, they call it intelligent, all-wheel drive. But if you drive like a QX80 or a QX56, they'll call it all-mode four-wheel drive. Let's see what's in it. They got active tests. That's the solenoid. Okay, just a whole bunch of different sensors. Throttle position, ETS solenoid. That's what pushes onto the fluid. All these different lamps that actually, they're okay. Engine speed, nothing special in there. Anyway, let's see what data. This is what data the all-wheel drive is looking at. So you see the front, see the wheel speed sensors. You got the solenoid. It's telling the more amperage it gets, the more power gets pushed to the front. See all the wheel speed sensors. That's how it knows as a wheel is slipping. I don't know what these characteristics are. See, it's also, you see stop lamp switch, so it's looking to see if you're pressing the brake, so it knows what to do. There's a mode switch. On the, I guess they used to let you actually change the mode, but not anymore. So it's just auto. So you see four-wheel drive mode monitor, you see it's just an auto. Park brake switch. So it says something about 0 to 4 millimeters on the tire. I want that like a setting. But that's all the all-wheel drive is looking at. It's the wheel speed sensors, and then this ETS solenoid. That's the electronic torque split.
All right. First thing I'm going to show is a standing start. And this is the one that been biting most people the most when they overheat in the all-wheel drive, not realizing how this actually works. So when you're at a dead stop and you're doing a brake launch, it goes into what's called start control, which means that it's going to start off in 50-50 power split. It's going to send all the power to the front and the rear at the same time, so that, and people holding the brake and the gas at the same time, they are eventually, some people will overheat their transfer case because they're not realizing that power is being sent to the front, even though you're, when you're brake launching, just sitting still, it's still trying to push power to the front. This is one of the differences between the GTR system and the system you get on your Q50, your G, your M, your FX, whatever FM platform car got this on it. So the GTR, its normal, so its start control is 2% power to the front, 98 to the rear, and then eventually once the rear, okay, I gotta go. Y'all got to see a little bit of that, but I got a car behind me, so I'm probably gonna do that one over. All right, we're finna try this again. We're finna show you the start control. So I'm gonna brake launch the car like y'all normally do. You'll be able to see what's happening. You'll see as I'm pressing the brake, the throttle is the blue line and the green line is the ETS solenoid sending power to the front. All right, here we go. I'm at 2,500. And as you see, when I hit the brake, all power to the front goes away. And that green line goes steady. All right, now let's show going around a curve. So it's a curve coming up right in front of me, and let's show what happens. I'm gonna do a textbook left, brake, turn. And then we go into another curve here. You can see it steady, it's gonna steady out, steady out. Oh, it's going a little bit further ahead than I thought it was going to be. All right, here comes some more curves. We're going to do a textbook left, brake, turn, get back on the accelerator. Left, brake, turn, and get back on the accelerator. Now, there we go. Holding it, holding it, holding it. All right, let's go through another turning session again. So what you will notice is, well, you might not get to see this here, I don't know, but the more you turn the car, the less power it goes to the front. And this is how it fights understeer that majority of all-wheel drive systems have. So if I go into it like that, if you notice that it took away some of the power to the front. So that's what made this system better than the Porsche 949 system and unique to majority of other systems, except I think Mercedes and BMW finally, doing this, able to apportion 100% to the rear wheel drive. I think Mercedes is calling theirs 4MATIC Plus, and then BMW's X-Drive can finally do 100% rear wheel drive now. But Infiniti been doing this since 1989. And brake, and you'll see it take away the power, and then I get back on it, and you'll see I'm braking, get back on it, and you see it's not doing that much, pushing that much to the front when I'm going at the higher speeds, because it's letting the car be close to a rear-wheel drive car as possible, because I'm not spinning. I don't think the ground is too perfect and my tires are too grippy to actually get the car to spin. To actually spin out. So I don't think I'd even get the tires to chirp. I'm gonna do one more launch. I'm gonna try to launch at 3K RPM this time. I've been launching at 25. Let's see, can I get it to 3K? And you can watch how much more it's gonna push to the front. Maybe I get it to chirp. Let's see. That was like 2,800. You can see the torque on the front dropping off. Even though I made it. Now I'm braking because I'm all the way up there in speed. I'm not gonna come around this curve too fast. But you can just kind of watch as I hustle through here. can kind of watch what the all-wheel drive system does, and you can see what my foot is doing on the gas. Braking. And you can see the ETS solenoid kind of following my throttle and the brake. Well, you won't. I wish I could have put the brake on the graph. I couldn't put the brake on the graph. But when I press the brake, in general, it takes away power from the front wheels when you press the brake. So I'm at steady state, cruising, and you see it's not really applying any power. Coming back to the curves, I'm gonna brake hard, turn, put some power on it. You see here, it just pulls it on through. Braking. You see, it's a little steady state. I'm on the gas, and it keeps the car perfectly stable. And I'm on the brake, and it's taking away all the power as I get lower in speeds. You'll see the ETS solenoid is doing nothing right now. All right, I think that's a pretty good demonstration of showing you the all-wheel drive in action. If there's any questions, let me know in the comments. Other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.